Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Big Rig Banter. Unfortunately, I'm here all by my lonesome today. Albert's got grandkids, and well, guests are sparse. So let me roll the intro, gather my thoughts, all that good stuff, and I'll be right back. I'm really starting to think I need to change that intro. Or I should have other intros made up and queued in the event that we don't have any guests and Albert's not available. We should probably look into that. But yeah, so didn't really have much in the way of topics to talking about this week, but I know that that'll change next week. We have a group meeting, and we're gonna snatch one of the drivers up, bring it on here. He's been with us for quite a while, off and on over the years, and so I think it'd be interesting to bring him on because I've known him the entire time he's been off and on here, and yeah, I have my own opinions, but that's neither here nor there. I'm looking forward to having him on the show. It'd be interesting. But I guess had I known that this whole podcast thing was going to be, as difficult as it has been trying to keep guests to be, coming on and everything else, I may have considered something else, but I'm going to stick with it because it is entertaining and allows us to get a voice out there for drivers and people traveling over the road in general that don't normally have the opportunity to have a voice and be heard. So I think that's kind of important. That's kind of my goal, and the guests that I've chosen and that have been on the show thus far don't necessarily have to be our drivers. I mean, we had one girl, Sharon, who was on the show, who used to drive for us but doesn't drive for us anymore. But I'm hoping as the show continues to progress and get more popular, people that come through here that might be available on the day of recording are more than welcome to join us. It'd be interesting, and I like the idea of having other guests on the show that might not necessarily work for us, so getting another viewpoint would definitely be welcome. And well, Sharon was one of those, but she did work for us, so but I'm interested to hear the perspective of people in the industry that don't and have not and might not ever work for us here at Bowerman Trucking. Now, this is essentially my podcast. It's not affiliated with Bowerman Trucking, even though I'm an employee. But yeah, it's been over the last couple of weeks, I've had a chance to talk with many different, not many, a good handful of drivers that that had shown an interest of possibly coming here on the show. So hopefully we'll get some of those people in the future. Due to me flying solo today, I'm going to try to keep some talking points that will be engaging. So I think a good place to start, here we are in February. We've already passed January 31st. That means that a lot of people that are getting W-2s should have received them by now. And I've seen some videos and TikToks and whatnot, people talking about how their tax obligation this year is significantly higher, or definitely different than what they were originally expecting based on their tax experience from previous years. And I am no exception. I didn't have a lot of huge differences. I'll give you my situation as an example. Last year, I claimed two dependents. My son, who was for last year's filing, he was 16. So I still got the child tax credit for that, however much that was, $2,000 or whatever. And I claimed my daughter because she was still living on my roof. She just finished school. She was unemployed, so she didn't provide more than 50% of her support, so I can claim her as a dependent for $500. This year, still, both me and my wife work. Our adjusted gross income maybe increased $5,000, something like that. Nothing crazy. We were talking about, in the tax bracket we fell in last year is the same this year. Our adjusted gross income landed in the same tax bracket as the year previous. The only difference is this year is my son was 17, so he no longer qualifies for that child tax credit. He's just a regular dependent. He's in high school, so he's still a student, but not the right kind of student, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And so, we lost $1,500 on child tax credit. So, but since last year I got $1,500, this year shows that I'm owing $2,100. That is a huge shift. I know there's been videos that talked about how, this was all put in tax code, all this and that years ago, but it still doesn't make any sense. I was even so like, what the hell's going on? Because I've been using the same tax software for years. So maybe there's other stuff going on behind the scenes of all that I'm not seeing, and I'm not going through all the forms. I'm doing it the easy route, which probably isn't recommended. But I'm looking through all the forms, and everything looks to be in order. So I decided to do it longhand. I pulled out the tax workbook and looking at the tax brackets and everything else, and I took our total combined federal gross, and I figured out how much withholding we had, and I did the math on figuring out what tax bracket we fell into after the adjusted gross income, after the standard deduction for married, which is $27,700, all this and that, and it shows my tax obligation being like $2,100. I'm like, what is going on? Because the tax bracket percentage didn't really change. The bracket itself changed a little bit. I think it got wider and extended to like up to 190,000 or something like that. But the tax obligation percentage was still 22%. So I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So I know a lot of people are frustrated with that. I know that they've increased the child tax credit. I think like over $2,500 or something like that. I don't know. I know that doesn't apply to me. So if you have children under the age of 17 at the end of 2023, you will get a slightly larger tax credit this year. I don't know if they're keeping that going forward. And I know they've changed other things as far as if you're got 1099s and you're self-employed and your depreciation assets. You used to be able to do like 80% all at once, or rather than percentage over like a 5-year period. I know that's changed a little bit too. So I don't really know what's going on. It's crazy. Yeah, nothing about our income has really changed enough to. I feel that it didn't change enough to justify the $3,500 shift. So, but I can't file until like March anyways because of IRAs and investment portfolios and everything else don't usually release their tax paperwork till the middle of February to the middle of March. Just depends on where it lands. Of course, they always make sure they get it to us before the tax deadline. But so I know last week we talked. We had Shane on here, and we talked about things that, as far as safety and everything. There was a point I was going to bring up. I don't know where it was now. So one of the problems of flying solo is you don't have that other person to bounce your ideas off of and to give and take, push, pull, and the whole 9 yards, so you can like help keep your audience engaged. So it's definitely going to look like one of those episodes that's just going to be cut short. Well, instead of saving it to the end, I can talk about, things where you can support us. You can find us over on Spotify for podcasters, or you can just go to regular Spotify. I believe that there's some sort of a subscription model available that'll allow you to support the podcast directly with a monthly subscription. I think they have different tiers of price levels and ways that you can support. Obviously, you can support us here on YouTube at youtube.com/The Open Road 2023. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Or at The Open Road 2023. By subscribing and clicking the notification icons, share the channel with your friends. Right now we have, I think it's 500, well, don't let me misquote now. I think we have like 588 subscribers, which is pretty cool. It's awesome. We are at 592. So I guess our next milestone will be 600. And from there, my goal is to get this over 1,000. So let's get this, spread the word, get it out there. I promise you some of these episodes will be more entertaining than this one. I promise you. And you can follow us over on Facebook as well, The Open Road /The Open Road 2023. So, yeah, follow us over there, subscribe, and all that good stuff on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, obviously. I wanted to hear you guys' feedback on the Spotify only sessions. I do have a new microphone coming up that I'll use to plug in the phone so that the audio is a little bit cleaner. Damn, excuse me. So that it doesn't sound as harsh. It's more warm and everything. So hopefully that'll be you guys will like that. But I guess I can tell you a little bit about this week. This week's been kind of crazy. I mean, it started off pretty good, run staying tight. But the last 2 days just kind of fell apart. I'm glad that there wasn't a bunch of like idiots out on the road, and I doubt that we have any influence over that. Maybe I just got lucky. Well, clearly I got lucky, not having to deal with people that just don't know how to show, appreciate the size and the dangers involved with doing stupid shit around trucks. Last week we talked a little bit about, was it this week or last week? Crap. See, this is what happens when you get old. Talked about, on the Spotify, the Spotify only session. I talked about, gaming out on the road and what people do when they go out on the road. Do they bring game consoles? Do they have TVs? Do they play, Game Boys or Switch or, whatever? If they're a mobile game junkie or whatever the case may be. And so there's a few people that liked the episode, and I did get one comment though, but it wasn't on that because they couldn't figure out on whatever platform they're, Android, iPhone, or if they were listening on Spotify or Spotify for podcasters. But he apparently couldn't figure out where he could comment on the episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it here. It's from Joe Coleman. It says, I'm supposed to be a techie, but couldn't figure out how to post a comment on Spotify connected to your game podcast. I definitely play games and watch movies. I stopped trying to use my Oculus when I almost broke my hand on the microwave. I carry a laptop and I game on that he games on connected to a hotspot. I'm playing Enshrouded right now. I'm not familiar with that. I might have to check that out. I also download movies and TV shows when I'm home so he can, watch them on his TV in his truck. So we do have one techie that watches and listens to podcasts. That's awesome. That it's I like to see the comments because it lets us know that people are actually listening and they're enjoying it, because I can see all the different views on like the shorts and how many plays were played on Spotify. But without their guys' feedback, we don't know if we're doing something wrong, if we did something you guys really liked. You need to let us know, whatever. your comments and your feedback are very important, not just for the whole algorithm thing that YouTube sees you engaging more and more often, but because of the fact that, having that feedback is important for the whole platform. I'm just as guilty as not leaving my comments and feedbacks on certain videos and content that I watch or listen to. And so it's, I try, if something stands out to me, I always make it a point to comment or add my question or, opinion, whether it's welcome or not. So, so if there's something you enjoyed hearing or watching here on YouTube or listening to on Spotify, do what you can to reach out, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. It's important to us to make sure that we're doing something that people will actually enjoy listening or watching. So, so keep that up. That's cool that dude commented. So I think he even commented, on the post I made on the Facebook channel on the first show. He's like, great first show. Let me know when you want to talk to a different kind of driver. Kind of curious to know what that means. So we might have to get a hold of Joe Coleman, calling you out, buddy. Let us know when you want to come on the show. You can contact Albert or send us a message on the group. That'd be great. We'll get you in here. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after. Let us know. So, so if there's anyone that's relatively local, you know what, I can probably set up like Zoom or whatever. So if you're available and you're not in Arkansas, I can probably set up a Zoom call on my laptop here, and you can be a virtual guest. We can do that. We can arrange something if you're not in the area. So, yeah, all kinds of ideas, all kinds of craziness out here on the road. I got a couple topics that I'm saving. I don't want to do it solo because it seems dumb, because I want to get that feedback. I have, I got a couple different topics that I would love to cover. I want to talk a little bit more about, the traveling portion of whether you're trucking or RVing. And then I also want to talk about the evolution of technology that we use in trucking, as far as, all the computerized stuff and paper logs to ELDs and all these other safety features and everything else. And I have a certain driver in mind, and I really hope I can get him convinced to go ahead and come on the show, because I think he is opposed to a lot of it. And I think having his feedback will be neat. And he can be highly opinionated, which I think is good. I think conflict's good, as long as you're not trying to kill each other. But I think someone else made a point on that on one of these shorts. Conflict is good, disagreeing is good, having your opinion and opposing views is good, because it's when you stop talking, you just give up. Stuff starts to fall apart. So, well, since I'm all by myself, I'm running a little low on topics. What's messed up, I don't know if anyone else has ever done anything like this, whether it's podcasts or record themselves for YouTube. You'll be rehearsing an idea in your head. In my case, going down the road, I'll be like, I'll be listening to whatever, and I'm like, we could probably totally talk about that. And I'll start imagining the whole session in my head, and it's going to be good. But then when you get here and you hit record, it never comes out the way you imagined in your head. And then it sounds so awesome. You get it on the recording, and it's just like falls apart. So, and even on my other YouTube channels where whether it's travel and gaming related, I'll have an idea for a game episode on my So That's Gaming channel, and I'm gonna do this, and I'll say this. It'll be really, really, real funny, or it'll be engaging, or whatever. And then get the camera set up, got my little so-called script set up of talking points that I'm going to make before switching to different views, and hit the record button on however many cameras I'm using, and then I'll get there, and I'll just be like, I'll sit there and think to myself, and then I'll be like, kind of like a action. And instead of saying, hey guys, welcome back, and so I was like, hey, welcome, yay, we're gonna do this, and it's like the enthusiasm runs for the door as soon as it knows that you're recording. And so I'm trying to add that back in to whether it's the podcast or the group sessions and everything else. Try to have that, that crazier energy. And so kind of like now, I'm trying. And unfortunately, the neat thing about podcasts, as long as you have a reasonable topic to keep going, you can ramble and ramble and ramble. Check this. So, yeah, you can just go on and on and on and on forever. Anyways, I think I'm done fooling around. So it's gonna be a short episode today. Shouldn't take you long to get through it if you can stomach your way through it, because it's this episode just wasn't that great. Let's be honest. I know it wasn't that great, but I needed filler. Unfortunately, it's going to make it difficult to make some shorts for next week. So I guess we're not going to have any shorts next week, or throughout the week, I should say. But yeah, next week should be pretty good. I hope you guys stay tuned for that. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for sticking around through this whole ordeal. It wasn't one of our better moments, obviously. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button here on the old YouTube. Click the little bell icon, become part of our notification squad. You can follow us over on Facebook at facebook.com/theopenroad2023. Be sure to find us over on Spotify or Spotify for Podcasters. Links are in the description below. I hope I remember to put them there. If you want to support the channel, do all the things we mentioned about subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And if you want to financially support the channel, I don't have any membership set up on YouTube, but you can. There's a subscription model available on Spotify. You can go check that out. So thanks, you guys, for coming along for this dreary, not so exciting episode. We will talk to you again next week. Oh, speaking of talking to you, if you guys are interested in seeing some live episodes, unfortunately, we record usually pretty early, around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So if we're going to go live, it's going to be that early in the morning. Let us know if you are interested in hearing a live session. We'll have live chat up and all that good stuff. You can talk smack all you want, and we'll respond to you. Let us know if you're interested in the comment section below, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.